Parshas Pinhas. And one of the most fascinating, overlooked elements of Parshas Pinhas is the Korban Tamid. The Korban Tamid has a message for us in our Avodat Hashem, which is eternal. There are two different ways that people experience Avodat Hashem. One way of experiencing Avodat Hashem is there are certain times, certain opportunities where a person feels more connected. When it's Shabbos, Friday night davening, that's where I feel close to Hashem. When it's Yontef and it's Seder night, that's when I feel close to Hashem. When it's the night of Tikkun Leil Shavuos, that's when I feel close to Hashem. And there are other times where I just don't feel it. I don't feel so connected. Avodat Hashem has ups and downs. It has highs and it has lows. And that's one form of Avodat Hashem. The benefit of that is that when you feel connected, you feel so greatly connected. It's all worth it. But a large majority of the time, you feel you're not there with Hashem, waiting for the next high again to feel that connection. There's another form of Avodat Hashem, and that's the one that Korban Tamid teaches us. The Korban Tamid was paid for by all of Klal Yisrael. That's what the Maharal writes right at the beginning of Netiv HaAvodah, where he speaks about davening. And he writes the Korban Tamid was paid for by the Machatzit HaShekel, which means that every single Jew had a chelik in it. It wasn't a korban brought by an individual. It was a korban brought by the entire nation, which, says the Maharal, is God's way of telling us that this is the derech of Avodat Hashem for the masses. This is the main way. This is the path that we should be serving Hashem in, to have a constant and ongoing form of Avodat Hashem. Because the Korban Tamid was brought every morning and every afternoon, and it never changed. The amount of money people gave towards it was always a Machatzit HaShekel, and the animal that was brought was always a sheep. One in the morning, one in the evening, on a constant basis. If we're looking to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we're running after the next Sefer, the next Tish, the next outing, to meet a Gadol, those things will add inspiration. But that's not the path of a true connection with Hashem. The Korban Tamid teaches us that if you wish to Hashem, it has to be Yom Yom, Boker Be'erev, constantly, slowly, constantly building our Avodat Hashem in a stable manner, in a way that we can develop an authentic, long-term connection with Hashem. And it's fascinating that the way that the Parsha describes the Korban Tamid is a double language. Lachmi, my bread, Ishai, my fire. What does those two phrases mean? My bread, my fire. What was Hashem trying to teach us? But fire, we know, was the way that Hashem revealed himself on Mount Sinai. When Hashem came to us on Mount Sinai, he came down ke'esh, like fire. So fire in the Torah represents Hashem's Shechina, being present in the world. And what's a reach nichoach to Hashem? What brings Hashem nachas ruach? It's when there's lachmi, when there's bread being brought. He calls the Korban Tamid his bread. What does the bread represent? Well, the bread here is the fuel that's keeping the fire going. And bread is a staple diet. Without anything extra, it's the most basic food. So what comes out of the Korban Tamid is that we, by serving Hashem on a constant basis, are providing the fuel that enables the Hashem's fire, the Shechina that comes down, to dwell within Am Yisrael on a long-term basis. So every time we're thinking about our Avodat Hashem, and we're debating, should I go for the high, or should I go for the not high, but stable, then serving Hashem with a daily learning, with a daily davening, with the daily acts of chesed, even though it's not bombastic, but it's something which is constant and steady, is going to lead to the Shechina dwelling long term. Have a wonderful Shabbos.